Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at something that I think is going to hit a little too close to home for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's that really specific gnawing frustration where you know you have a brilliant idea, right? You have the expertise, you might even have all your content ready to go, but you are just physically incapable of getting the technical side of things to cooperate.
Right. It's like a modern creative paralysis. I mean, you have the message, but you just don't have the megaphone.
Exactly. And we're looking at a source today that promises to solve exactly that. But the claim is, well, it's bold. It's borderline unbelievable, honestly.
It really is.
We're analyzing a case study of a program called the Laptop Lifestyle Experience,
Yeah.
and that's by Michelle Kuzmic. And the hook here is that she takes the months-long misery of building an online business, the branding, the funnel, the email automations, and compresses it into 7 business days.
7 days. And just to set the stage for you listening, we aren't talking about throwing up a generic under construction page with a coming soon sticker on it.
No, not at all.
The source material claims this is a complete transition from being what they call a hidden secret to having a fully functional, revenue-ready online business.
I have to admit, when I first read 7 days in the text,
Yeah.
my scam radar immediately went off. I just thought, okay, this is going to be incredibly sloppy.
Sure.
But then I saw this phrase in the material that actually made me stop. It mentioned curing tech tears.
That is such a vivid term, isn't it? Tech
Yeah,
tears.
It's too real.
Yeah.
It refers to that very specific exhaustion of trying to DIY your business backend. You know, you're listening to this, maybe you're an expert coach, you change lives for a living, but you're up at 2 a.m. literally crying because your email sequence won't trigger your checkout page.
And you have absolutely no idea what an API key is.
Exactly. And that is the central problem space we want to explore in this deep dive. The source material identifies a specific persona here. It's the coach or expert who is stuck in that start-stop cycle.
Right, the thinking phase.
They have this big decision energy, as the text calls it, to go all in, but they just lack the engine to actually move the car forward.
So our mission today is to unpack how this is actually possible without cutting the corners that matter. Because we have the sales copy, which gives us the overall philosophy, but we also have something much cooler.
We have the actual SOPs.
Yes, the Standard Operating Procedures document. It's basically a daily schedule of how this entire 7-day sprint actually happens behind the scenes.
Which is fantastic because it lets us look right under the hood. We're going to analyze the specific workflow to see how operational efficiency can actually replace months of those tech tiers.
Let's start with the psychology first, because the text describes a very specific type of person. It calls them a hidden secret.
Right.
This is someone who has already invested heavily in their skills. The text explicitly says, you're an expert in your field, you've invested in the big name programs, but, and this is the really crucial part, they are completely invisible online.
There's a line in the source that hit me really hard regarding this. It says, their business is currently just a collection of Google Docs.
That is a profound distinction. Because think about it, a collection of Google Docs is safe.
It's very safe.
It's totally private. I mean, you can edit a Google Doc for 6 months straight and no one can judge you because literally no one can see it. It represents potential energy.
Yeah, but a brand, a website, a live funnel that is kinetic energy. It's out there working for you in the real world.
Yeah.
And the source argues that so many experts are just wasting their time being full-time tech students instead of doing what they're actually good at.
That's the trap entirely. You think, oh, I'll just watch a quick YouTube video on how to build a website.
Oh, famous last words.
Right. And then 3 weeks later, you haven't made a single dime and you completely hate your computer. The document actually explicitly states this. It says, you didn't start this business to spend your nights in tech tiers. You started it to fund your freedom.
So the whole solution premise here is a massive shift from DIY doing it yourself to DFY, done for you. But I want to be clear, it's not just about getting a pretty website. The goal, according to the text, is a revenue-ready sales funnel.
Meaning it can actually take money. Which, let's be totally honest, is the exact difference between a business and a hobby.
It's the difference between a nice brochure and a working cash register.
Correct.
Okay, so let's get into the actual machine. We have the SOP document right in front of us, and it breaks this down into a very strict timeline. Walk us through this, because it seems like there is actually a lot of work happening before day one even officially starts.
Oh, there is a ton of work. The efficiency of this entire 7-day sprint relies entirely on preparation. The SOP lists a pre-work phase.
Okay.
Obviously, you have the standard logistics, the contracts, paying the invoices, getting the physical address sorted. But the single most important tool mentioned in this phase is the shared Google folder.
Which is essentially the dumping ground.
In a way, yes, but psychologically, it's more like a release valve. The client is instructed to just drop their notes, their rough drafts, random brand photos, all those half-baked ideas directly into this folder.
So it's about downloading the client's brain so the builder can organize it for them.
Exactly. You don't just show up on Monday morning and say, so what are we doing today?
Right, because that wastes a whole day right there.
By day one, all the raw materials are already gathered. The builder isn't waiting for you to dig through your hard drive to find that one headshot you liked from 3 years ago. It's already in the shared folder.
All right, so day one, the clock starts. What is the primary focus?
Strategy and foundation. It kicks off with a 90-minute strategy call. This is where they nail down the offer and clarify the audience. And interestingly, the deliverable here is a one-page business plan.
I really love the constraint of it being just one page.
Yeah.
It forces clarity. Because if you can't explain your core business on a single page, you probably just don't understand it well enough yet.
Focus is the ultimate enemy of overwhelm. And day one is also where a massive technical choice happens, the platform decision.
Okay, stop right here. Because this is the exact moment where I usually get completely lost in the weeds.
Yeah.
The source mentions 3 specific platforms.
Yeah.
It says Kajabi, GHL, which stands for Go High Level and System. So for the listener who isn't a massive tech nerd, what are we actually talking about here? And why does this specific choice have to happen on day one?
This is critical to the whole timeline. Think of it like choosing the chassis for a car. You really can't change it easily once you actually start bolting things onto it.
That makes sense.
So let's break them down. Kajabi is like the Cadillac for course creators. If your main business is selling video courses, community memberships, digital products, it is the absolute gold standard. It looks beautiful right out of the box, but it is expensive.
Okay, so Kajabi is for the teachers and creators. What about GHL?
Go high level. That is the absolute beast of the group. It's really for people who need heavy, complex marketing automation. We're talking two-way SMS messaging, incredibly complex sales pipelines, managing large sales teams. It is massively powerful, but it has a brutal learning curve.
And the last one, System.
System is basically the budget-friendly all-in-one option. It does a little bit of everything, your email, your courses, your website, but for a much, much lower price point.
Okay, so the source emphasizes that this platform choice is not cookie cutter. They are choosing the platform based on the client's actual capacity and their desired lifestyle.
Exactly. They aren't just jamming every single client into the exact same software to make their own lives easier. If you are deeply terrified of tech, they are not going to build you a wildly complex, go high-level setup that you don't even know how to log into.
Because then you're right back to the tech tiers.
Exactly. They make this hard decision on day one so they aren't suddenly pivoting and changing their minds on day 4.
Very smart. Make the hard decisions early.
Yeah.
So day one is the blueprint. Day 2 moves on to making things look pretty, right?
Day 2 is branding and core messaging. This is the day they finalize the logo, the overall visual identity, and they create what they call a brand book.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. Branding.
Mm-hmm.
In one single day, I know creative agencies that take 3 solid months just to pick the right shade of blue.
Oh, absolutely.
And the text calls this a semi-custom brand package. So does that mean it's generic? Like, is my logo just going to look like every other life coach on Instagram?
That is a totally valid fear. But that phrase, semi-custom, is the absolute key to the velocity here. They aren't inventing a brand new color spectrum from scratch. They are highly likely using top-tier, proven design frameworks and just tailoring them tightly to the client's vibe.
So it's less fine art school and more what actually converts in the real world.
Spot on. The goal isn't to win a prestigious design award. The goal is to make the client look like the highly credible expert they already are, and to do it immediately. By the end of day 2, the client gives their final approval on the look and feel.
Okay, so we have the plan and we have the look. Days 3 and 4 seem to be grouped together in the SOP outline, but they are very distinct steps. This whole section is about the lead magnet.
Yes, the lead magnet. This is the bait on the hook. It's the PDF or the quick guide that you give away for free in exchange for an email address.
But look at this specific order here. Day 3 is write copy for lead magnet plus nurture sequence. Day 4 is lead magnet design. Why do they separate them? Why not just write the text directly into the design template?
Honestly, that strict separation is probably the single biggest productivity hack in this entire document.
Really? Just separating the writing from the designing.
Yes, because most people try to do both at the exact same time. They write a paragraph and then they try to format it in Canva. Then they decide they don't like how the text wraps around the image, so they change the font. And then they end up rewriting the whole sentence just to make it fit inside the little box.
I feel incredibly attacked right now.
Yeah.
That is exactly how I work on every presentation ever.
It's wildly inefficient. It's a phenomenon called context switching, and it just destroys your brain power and your momentum. This process isolates the variables completely. Day 3 is pure text. You are just a writer. You are crafting the message, and this is huge. You are writing the 3-email nurture sequence.
Okay, let's explain that term for the uninitiated listener. What exactly is a nurture sequence?
Think of it like the first date after you finally get someone's phone number. Someone visits your site and downloads your free guide. Great, but now what? The nurture sequence is a pre-written series of 3 emails that automatically go out over the next few days.
So it does the heavy lifting of relationship building for you.
Exactly. The text actually says this sequence ensures new subscribers immediately understand what you do and exactly how to work with you.
So on day 3, you're purely building that relationship engine in a text document.
Yes. And because you aren't distracted by picking fonts or colors, you write vastly better copy.
Which leads us to day 4, which is just making all those words look good.
Day 4 is entirely about turning the copy into a professionally branded PDF, usually up to 5 pages. Because the branding was already approved on day 2 and the actual text was approved on day 3, day 4 is purely execution. The designer just flows the text into the established layout. There is zero decision fatigue.
That makes so much sense. You are systematically removing the friction of decision-making at every single step. Okay, we are over the hump. Let's look at day 5. This looks like a really heavy lifting day.
Day 5 is website and offer copy. We are talking about writing the actual words on the main website, the specific offer details, the thank you page, and the post-purchase email.
There is a really interesting detail hidden here about how they actually write this copy. The source specifically mentions using AI-supported copy tools. Now, does that mean a robot is just writing my entire business personality? Because that sounds really cold to me.
Not quite. The text explicitly says it's used alongside approved messaging. This is a perfect example of modern operational efficiency. The builders aren't just staring at a blank, blinking cursor on a screen hoping for inspiration.
Right.
They likely take all that Google Doc brilliance from the pre-work, the client's raw, messy ideas, feed it into an AI tool to get immediate structure and clarity, and then humanly refine it to match the client's actual voice.
So it essentially cures writer's block.
It speeds up the drafting process immensely. You get to a solid, good enough draft in maybe 4 minutes instead of 4 hours, and then you spend your energy polishing it.
So by the time the sun sets on day 5, all the words for the entire business are written and approved.
Yeah.
Which brings us to day 6. This is where the magic happens, or in my personal experience, where the tech tears usually turn into a full-blown meltdown, integration day.
The SOP officially calls this website and funnel integration. This is where they actually build the one-page website using those signature templates we talked about.
There's that phrase again, signature templates. That really is the secret sauce for the speed here.
It absolutely is. They aren't in there coding custom HTML from scratch. They are taking a highly proven structure. You put the hero header here, the client testimonial there, the main offer button here, and they simply apply the day 2 branding and the day 5 copy to it.
And the SOP says they also set up the high-converting checkout page on this day.
This is the revenue-ready part of the promise. They are finally connecting the pipes. They ensure that when someone actually downloads that lead magnet from day 4, it successfully triggers the 3-email sequence from day 3. And crucially, they test the path to payment.
That phrase right there, path to payment, is so vital. I feel like so many people out there have a website, but the path to actually giving them money is like an obstacle course. You click a buy button and it goes to a 404 error page or their Stripe link is broken.
Precisely. In this 7-day build, that specific path is cleared, paved, and tested before the client even touches the keyboard. They verify that the money actually lands in the bank account.
And that smoothly brings us to the final day, day 7, the handover.
The final 90-minute wrap call. But there's a very important, subtle distinction made in the text here. It emphasizes that the client walks away knowing how to manage the business, not just owning it.
That is huge, because there's honestly nothing worse than being handed the keys to a fancy sports car that you literally don't know how to drive.
Or, in this context, a website that you are absolutely terrified to touch because you think you might accidentally delete the whole thing. The wrap call is specifically designed to empower the client to confidently run the engine that was just built for them. They are shown exactly how to send a broadcast email, how to check their daily sales, how to quickly swap out a photo.
So we built the machine. We've gone from day 1 to day 7. But I want to pivot and talk about the offer itself, the actual service being provided by Michelle Kuzmic here. We mentioned it's done for you, but we also talked heavily about templates. Does the source address that cookie-cutter concern directly? Because a lot of high-end experts hate the idea of templates.
It does address it, and the source is very transparent about it. It said, because I use signature templates and a streamlined AI-supported process, we can bypass the months of overthinking and tweaking. The core value proposition here isn't infinite bespoke customization. The value is velocity.
Velocity. I really like that framing. It's all about speed to market.
The underlying argument is that a 90% perfect site that is live and actively selling today is infinitely better than a 100% perfect site that finally launches in 2027.
Amen to that. Perfect is the enemy of done. Now, let's talk real numbers. The source clearly puts a price tag on this 7-day sprint. It's $2,497.
Which, in the broader world of business development and agency work, is firmly positioned as an investment. They also clearly mention that payment plans are available for it.
Honestly, for a custom or even semi-custom website build with full funnel integration, that is actually on the lower end. Traditional agencies can and will charge 10 grand easily for this scope of work.
True, but remember, those agencies are usually building from absolute scratch, which takes months. Here, you are paying for the refined process and the sheer speed. You're essentially paying to skip the line.
But what happens on day 8? What if something breaks? What if I go in to change a typo and I delete my entire homepage by accident?
That is a super common fear. The source addresses this directly with a post-launch support window. It officially offers 30 days of WhatsApp and email support specifically for tech questions.
So you have a safety net.
You do. It entirely prevents that sheer panic of, oh no, I logged in and the dashboard looks different today.
Yeah.
You have a full month to get your bearings and get comfortable driving the car.
But what if I want more? The FAQ section in the source material is really interesting on this point. Someone asks, what if I have a much larger vision? You know, they want the massive mega course, the huge membership site, the interactive community hub.
And the answer provided is refreshingly honest. It plainly states that this 7-day sprint is strictly for a high-impact foundation, specifically a one-page site structure. If you want the massive full membership hub or a complex multi-page site that falls outside the scope and requires a custom quote. This specific 7-day product is purely about getting the MVP, your minimum viable product, up and generating cash immediately.
Which is just smart business. Don't build the massive castle until you've actually sold a few tickets to the courtyard.
Exactly. Prove the concept first, then expand.
And what about the people who really just never, ever want to look at a back-end dashboard again? The ones who break out into stress hives when they see a login screen.
There is an option mentioned in the text for ongoing full business management. So if you just want to stay securely in your zone of genius, just coaching your clients and let someone else run the entire engine for you month after month, that upgrade is available.
I want to circle back to something the text said right at the very beginning. It's a quote. Every day it's not built is another day you're not getting paid.
It's focusing on the cost of inaction.
It really is.
Yeah.
We so often think purely about the upfront cost of hiring someone. We think, okay, can I afford to spend $2,500 right now? But we very rarely sit down and calculate the ongoing cost of not hiring them.
Let's actually do the math on that for a second. Let's say your business model suggests you could easily be making $5,000 a month once you launch. And you delay your launch by 6 full months because you're trying to figure out the perfect logo, or you're lost watching endless WordPress tutorials on YouTube. You haven't actually saved $2,500. You have actively lost $30,000 in potential revenue.
Wow, that hurts. That physically hurts to hear stated so plainly.
It should hurt. It is the brutal opportunity cost of perfectionism and procrastination. That is the core logic behind this entire laptop lifestyle offering. It's asking you to trade money for speed and ultimately for mental clarity.
And let's talk about that freedom aspect for a minute, because the text specifically mentions being present for life moments.
It all goes right back to the tech tiers. If you are constantly stressed out, fighting with glitchy software late at night, constantly wondering if your automated emails are actually sending, you aren't truly present for your family or your life.
Right, you're physically sitting in the living room, but mentally you are debugging code.
The functional mission of the service is technically to build a website, yes, but the emotional mission is to give the client their actual life back.
It's so interesting how the source frames the thinking phase. It urges the reader to put a definitive deadline on the thinking phase.
That is such a powerful instruction because the thinking phase often feels exactly like real work. You tell yourself, I'm planning, I'm strategizing, I'm doing market research, but very often it is just plain procrastination beautifully disguised as productivity. Booking a firm date on a calendar, as the sales page urges you to do, forces that scary transition from thinking into doing.
It mentions needing big decision energy. I think a lot of you listening probably have that exact energy right now. You are completely ready to jump, but you just desperately need the safety net to appear before you leap.
And in this specific case, the safety net isn't magic. It's a system. It's an SOP. It's a checklist of daily tasks. It's a shared Google folder. That strict system is what makes the leap achievable. It takes this massive, scary mountain and turns it into a predictable series of small, managed steps.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to get your final bottom line read on this. Who is this service really for? And maybe more importantly, who should absolutely avoid it?
I think it is absolutely perfect for the expert who is fundamentally bottlenecked by tech. If you have the brilliant content, you have the proven expertise, but you remain invisible because you physically cannot build the stage to stand on, this is for you.
And who should avoid it?
The person who deeply wants to micromanage every single pixel on the screen.
The person who needs their logo moved exactly 2 millimeters to the left on a Tuesday.
Exactly. If you need absolute perfection and total granular custom control over every element, you need a much longer timeline and a significantly higher budget. This specific 7-day sprint is for the person who values done over perfect.
My takeaway is a bit simpler. Stop trying to design your own logo if you aren't a graphic designer. Please. Just for the love of the internet.
A very valid and necessary request.
But seriously, it's about radically recognizing your own start-stop cycle. If you have been starting your business for 2 solid years now, maybe it's finally time to let someone else finish the boring setup so you can actually get in and drive the car. But I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought to mull over today. We've talked so much about the tech being the obstacle, but I wonder, for some of us, if these tech tiers aren't actually a subconscious defense mechanism.
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it. As long as your website is broken, as long as your email sequence isn't quite right, you don't actually have to launch, you don't have to face the market, you don't have to face the possibility of rejection. The broken tech keeps you safely hidden in that Google Doc phase. So maybe the real value of a 7-day forced sprint isn't just the website. Maybe it's that it completely removes your favorite excuse to hide.
That is a phenomenal point, stripping away the hiding places.
This has been a really fascinating look into how extreme operational efficiency can cure tech tiers. We hope this deep dive gives you some fresh perspective on your own lingering projects, whether you decide to hire Michelle or you just forcefully apply this ruthless 7-day sprint mentality to your own work.
Absolutely. Get out of the thinking phase.
We will catch you on the next deep dive. Until then, stop tweaking the font size on your homepage and go make some sales.
Goodbye, everyone.